There's no competitor that's tougher than Pat. He'll stay in there, he'll fight till the end, and he's a great partner to have when you've got that attitude. I've known him for a long, long time. We've been very good friends. He has a tremendous family, and we've traveled and played in a lot of national tournaments together and been competitors here in Virginia.
Pat is the youngest of 4 brothers that grew up in the coal mining country of Kentucky. And all of his brothers were athletic. Pat was the youngest, and I think probably, took more than his share of beatings at the hands of his brothers in different sports events and whatnot. And he had to be tough, he learned to be tough early on. That sort of what I would call fierce competitive spirit certainly carried over to the golf course. And he, right from the start, as I say, one of the things that was evident about Pat right from the start, even when he was not a real polished golfer, was that he had that fierce competitive desire to win.
I look at Pat as one of the real great competitors. A lot of heart, a lot of stomach, a lot of guts, and he's a grinder.
I think growing up, he had 3 brothers, I believe, and they grew up in Kentucky, and he might have been the youngest of the brothers, and that's what made him competitive. They were great basketball players growing up, and I think that's sort of what formed his competitive spirit. It wasn't golf that he started out playing, it was basketball, and eventually Pat did get drafted by the NBA.
Pat was a scrapper. He probably learned it on the basketball court. I think if you talk about what maybe turned his game around from a good player to a very good player, was quite honestly his change to the long putter, which he went from a average to mediocre putter to a very, very good putter, and I think that carried him to that next level.
He's always been one of the best ball strikers that you'll ever be around.
He always had just a natural golf swing. Back in the days when we all had 2 and 3 irons in our golf bag, Pat could hit those things solid and straight at the flag almost every time.
He never tried to do things he couldn't do. He basically hit a fade. He played for the fade. It was effective. He wasn't long, but he kept the ball in play all the time. I think his heart, his guts, and his competitive ability and his competitive juices going all the time, and he was a fighter.
He is never out of the hole. He's always in the hole. He's grinding to the very end.
I think the thing that took Pat from the good player to the very good player was really the change in his putting.
Pat went from being a mediocre putter at best to being really a very good, consistently good putter.
One thing that Pat has that is, in my opinion, is his biggest asset is his family. In my opinion, he married up quite a bit because Cindy is the greatest person that you'll ever meet. He has 3 daughters. They are all very successful. They are all a sports family. They've supported him from the very beginning. When you're talking to Pat, you haven't seen him for a long time, you call him up, you're talking to him, and the conversation always comes back to family. How Jesse's doing, how Lizzie's doing, how Laura's doing, how Cindy's doing great. So he is a very devout family man. And in my opinion, that is a big part of his success because they're his team.
Best to you and Cindy, congratulations, and best wishes to all there at High Point.